Welcome to the Business Development Podcast, brought to you by the Global Business Development Association, delivering the strategies and tactics to boost your career and corporate growth.
Welcome, everyone, to the Global Business Development Association podcast called What is Business Development? And today we have a wonderful guest on the show, and just a fascinating background, because not your typical business developer background for Tim Cortinovis joining us today. And I just want to tell you a little bit about his background and also a little bit about the books that he's published. He's quite a prolific author. You can find several books of his on Amazon. And today we will talk about his two most recent books. One he published in June of 2024, so just about a year ago. And the book is called Selling Smarter, Not Harder: How Sales Leaders Use Generative AI for Sales Excellence. And sales is a real rapidly changing profession, and so more importantly, so is business development, and generative AI is all around us. But which tool, which method really works for you in business development and sales? In his book, Selling Smarter, Not Harder, Tim, he covers quite a few topics where you dive into the world where data overwhelms, there's cutthroat competition, and the incessant demand for efficiency and personalization reign supreme. It's a landscape where many sales and BD teams struggle, not for lack of effort, but for lack of the right tools and strategies. And that's where Selling Smarter, Not Harder comes in. It's not another book about automation. It's a blueprint for elevating your sales process to an art form where technology amplifies your human strengths. And you learn how to marry your creativity and emotional intelligence with AI's predictive analytics and efficiency, creating a sales and business development force that's unstoppable. And so Tim published that book in June of 2024, and then just recently he published yet another book. And you'll really find this one interesting. He published it in February of 2025, and it's called Single-Handed Unicorn: How to Solo Build a Billion-Dollar Company. And for a lot of business developers on this podcast and listening in, a number of you are entrepreneurs. And some of you are business developers full-time right now, but you may likely become an entrepreneur. And wouldn't you like to be the first entrepreneur to run a billion-dollar company single-handedly? Well, you're probably going to need the help of AI when you do that. And so his most recent book is how artificial intelligence is breaking barriers, making it possible to achieve what was once unthinkable: building a billion-dollar business without a large team. But there's a real challenge there. Do you have the mindset, strategy, and tools to turn that dream into reality? Well, the Single-Handed Unicorn book is the definitive guide for ambitious solopreneurs who are ready to redefine business success. Whether you're a freelancer, consultant, content creator, or startup visionary, this book is your step-by-step roadmap to leveraging AI, building resilience, and scaling your vision to extraordinary heights, all while flying solo. And all of this AI and business development discussion is coming from Tim's extensive experience. Now, he's been involved with artificial intelligence for more than 20 years, and Thinkers 360 recently named Tim a top 100 thought leader in artificial intelligence. Tim's an author, entrepreneur, and speaker. And Tim also supported multiple Fortune 500 companies as an event speaker, where attendees love his energetic way of telling stories that resonate. And since 2011, Tim has been traveling globally with his keynotes and workshops in English, German, and Spanish to help companies use innovative technologies such as AI, the metaverse, and blockchain to grow exponentially. His clients include companies like Siemens, Avaya, ING, the list goes on and on. But what's really interesting is that Tim Cortinovis may be the Ron Burgundy of business development artificial intelligence. He started as a TV news anchorman. And Tim Cortinovis, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tony, for your warm welcome and your. I love it. Thank you so much for highlighting all of my biography in the past, and thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here in your show.
Oh, well, thank you, Tim. And folks listening in, if you want to stay up to date on artificial intelligence and follow Tim's work, he's on LinkedIn. You can find him, Tim Cortinovis. Very easy to find. You'll see his latest book prominently displayed on his LinkedIn profile page, and that's how you'll know you found the right man. But we've certainly found the right man today to talk about artificial intelligence in business development. So, Tim, let's start off a little bit about your background, starting as a TV anchorman. How did you get into technology, artificial intelligence, business development? Would love to hear your journey.
Quite a wild ride. Actually, my personal journey into AI began earlier than being a TV anchorman. I started my journey into AI at the age of 15, 16. I was a quite nerdish young boy. You wouldn't think so, seeing me as a TV anchorman, but I was. And so I programmed my first computer in the midst of the 80s. When I grew up, and I definitely did something like a chatbot that was called Eliza then, and had nothing to do with what we can see right now with AI and chatbots. But there was the first idea, the first glance of what a machine could do if it was able to think, and I definitely caught fire from the first moment on. And that idea of a machine doing my work and the thinking for me kept growing and growing in my mind. And I read a lot of books, although in the 1980s, around that topic. And when I was in university, I always thought about how to do what I did better using technology. That wasn't AI at all, but something like this, like automation tools and databases and so on. And then just after leaving my university studies in 2001, I started working in one of the first AI companies, and we actually personalized websites. So there was a website from a magazine, something like National Geographic, and the website itself, using AI, could detect, there's Tony searching on the website for some text articles around deserts. And so we have the latest coffee table book from that publisher about the Saharan desert. And so we will offer Tony this coffee table book. And we actually implemented systems like that. And I did sales. I did sales for that company. And while I was studying, I worked as a TV news presenter as a side job. I was there, and I presented the news, but that I did this as a side hustle, and I liked it a lot. And I gained I gained a lot of experience that helped me a lot later on in video keynotes and webinars and so on. And then in 2001, I started working in that AI company, and I realized that we could do really a lot using AI, machine learning, as it was called then, machine learning and automation in sales and marketing, to transfer all the sales processes and the marketing processes in the digital world. And I collected some more ideas, and so I started my own business in 2011 as an expert on that topic. And since then, I traveled around the globe, as you mentioned it. I wrote 6 books about the topic, and It's my passion. Two of my passions combined. I like sales. I'm a sales guy, and I like to connect to people and to talk about values and needs and offerings and so on. And on the other hand, I also like, and I'm very passionate about machines getting are more intelligent, maybe, but more capable of doing business and taking over the mundane tasks. And I think this will help a lot in sales. I started in sales also because I wanted to step into that hero role. I wanted to, and you may have noticed something the same when you started in sales. You wanted to, yes, to close the big deals, to get the all the reputation for the big deals and so on. And over the years, that feeling got more and more uh, hidden in the background because I had to fill in forms and Excel sheets and so on and all the technical stuff. And so this feeling of being in the hero role got more and more hidden. And I think AI has now the potential to bring us back in business development in that hero role as it takes over all the mundane and the repetitive tasks. And so we can step into the role of, yeah, closing the big deals and making the relevant conversations.
Well, that's a fascinating story. I loved it. I started off in the 80s building computers myself as a kid, so I was a nerd. I think it was
Okay.
a I think it was a Sinclair Lewis
Okay.
computer, a
Yeah.
mail order. You bought the parts, it showed up, and then you assembled it, and then hopefully it worked. In my case, it did, but I don't know if you worked on a Sinclair Lewis back then. It was right around the time the Texas Instrument computer came out. Of course, the Apple Mac was the big one at the time. So.
But assembling
Um,
it yourself is even greater. My one was a Commodore C64, and
Oh yeah, the Commodore 64. Yeah,
yeah.
that was a great one. A lot of good games too. You had the cartridge games you could insert and play the
Oh
game. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes, and trade in space and something like this. Yes.
yeah. Well, that's great. Well, we could probably nerd out for a few hours, and it's really interesting to, and fascinating to see that you also started in TV. I do not have a face for TV. Unfortunately, I don't have a voice for radio either. So on my podcast, people get to explore the worst of my abilities. but but it's great to have a pro on the show. And you talk about sales, and you talk about being, you love the feeling of being the hero. And I always tell folks, business development is not sale. Business development is like being a lifeguard. Our job is to go out and find the people who are in danger, save their lives, help them, bring them to shore. Okay, the
I love it.
sales.
I love it. This is perfect. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's it.
You like that analogy? And then I say, the salespeople are the EMTs that show up at the beach once you've pulled them out of the water, and they take them to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And so, we have a very distinctive role. So maybe by the end of this podcast, Tim, we'll probably convert you into a business developer from being a salesperson here soon enough. I think you're just on the edge. But yeah,
Yeah.
so okay, so how did what took you to writing the books that was it part of that hero desire to just share value with people and help guide them? Tell us a little bit about why you wrote the books. Writing one book is hard enough. Writing multiple books, wow, that's
It,
a huge effort.
it becomes easier. Let's put it like this. But for me, one of yeah, the most burning drivers was actually, yes, to deliver well, but the idea of there are tools out there, and it has become a lot easier to do this work we do and to step into the hero role, okay, on one side, but also for your daily life. And I can't stand the idea that there are a lot of people working to their bones without that tools. And I like to talk what I discovered. I'm using all that tools and all that automation, all that AI and agentic AI and whatsoever in my own company. And I've automated quite a lot, and so I can focus on the tasks that drive the most value. And I wanted to share this idea, and I wanted to be part of a world getting better using that kind of technology and making all of our jobs and lives easier. And so this was the driver for me to write the first one you mentioned, Selling Smarter, Not Harder, because this is my deep conviction that we should focus in life and in business on doing things the simplest way possible for us. So we I don't think overthinking and overcomplicating doing things and working harder will ever solve our problems or get us to the goal faster. I think thinking about it and doing things smarter is always better than doing things harder. And so, yes, I wrote that book for that idea. And if you ask me for the second one, The Single-Handed Unicorn, that was when I published the first one in June. Nearly on the same day, I read an article about Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, having a bet with some friends of him about when we will see the first single-handed unicorns and what will they be, where will they arise, and so on. I read that article from Aitik and Tank in Forbes, and so I sat down and thought, what would we actually need to accomplish that task? I see it's a bold statement, of course, and but would it be actually possible using AI and agents? And what do you need to accomplish this? So, what is the mindset you need? What is the tool set? Are there any reliable business models allowing you to scale to $1 billion? And so I sat down and wrote the book as an experiment. It's a thought experiment for me to bring order to my thoughts and to do the research around the topic.
Oh, great. Well, this is the part of the show where I can't wait to jump right into your top 3 BD tactics. And of course, AI is evolving so quickly. I'm sure when you wrote the first book, AI was at a certain level, and now it's just exponentially more powerful with the publication of your most recent book. So we would really enjoy hearing about your top 3 BD tactics, and anything you can do to kind of sprinkle in some discussion about artificial intelligence, I think would be fascinating, Tim.
Okay, thank you. So I'll try.
Okay.
First,
yeah, let's start with tactic number 1, please.
Okay, tactic number 1 is using artificial intelligence in market research as sales intelligence tool. So take perplexity.ai. This is my favorite AI tool of all times. I use it a lot, and for the last 9 months, I think I used Google twice or 3 times at all. So I have completely switched my search to Perplexity AI, and what it does or on a generic level is actually it summarizes the first 5 to 10 search results from your search. You can check the facts by clicking the links Perplexity provides, but here comes the kicker. Perplexity has now a deep research mode, and you can access it having the $20 premium subscription a month. But this is really worth your $20, because with the deep research, you just enter, for instance, please describe the lubricants market in, let's say, Uruguay or Texas or Germany or Australia. And describe, please, where's the market heading? Where are the most important market drivers? And tell me the most important figures around that market. Then it takes around 8 to 10 minutes, and you will receive a very compelling and a very comprehensive study all around that market, giving you all the figures, all the competitors, where's the market heading, what innovations are important in that market, and everything you need to decide whether to enter the market and where to enter the market and with which product and so on. This is huge, and you won't have to go to the consultancy company or doing research for days and weeks. You will get all the information you need at your Perplexity account.
Yeah, I love tactic number one, which is using AI to conduct that deep research that analyzes markets and provides in-depth analysis of the markets that you're entering. This is, as you said, I remember having to work with consulting firms or buying these very thick books that were a detailed analysis of markets, and you'd have to pay thousands for these things, and they would get updated maybe once a year. And now you're getting real-time analytics, deep research on the latest market fundamentals, and leveraging that to really understand your market in near real time. Hugely powerful. And I think the great thing, ChatGPT, I think recently launched a similar capability to Perplexity's deep research. And I've used it a couple of times. It's the type of thing where it's not going to give you a quick response to say the 4.0 or the 4.5, but you're going it's a good time to prompt the questions, send it into the system, and then go make yourself a cup of coffee, come back about 10 minutes later to get your answer. But the level of detail is fantastic. And then what's great, and then it's always been kind of a frustration of mine dealing with some of the AI tools, is up to this point, we're not able to provide solid references to substantiate their positions or their claims or the rationale sometimes. And what I found is with these deep research tools, that's not a problem anymore. You get the detailed URLs to their sources cited and whatnot. So it's really powerful to have those and use those as proof points as well while you're doing your analysis. So this is I love that tactic, Tim. That's great. So let's jump into tactic number two.
Okay, tactic number two is more than let's see. Tactic number two is letting the AI assume that it is your buyer persona or your customer avatar. So you go in best with ChatGPT, I would say, and tell it to assume your best customer, and you give it a little bit of background, age, profession, of course, position, and so on. And then you let it answer all your questions in that conversation from the point of view of your ideal customer. And then you can go into a detailed conversation and ask questions you never dared your customer to ask. You can ask them if they like your offer, if they like a certain email, if they like a campaign, and if not, what don't they like about it, and do they understand it? Why don't they understand it? How can you improve your material to be better understandable? And of course, you can ask the question, would you close the deal? Why won't you close the deal? What is the obstacle? What can I do to overcome that obstacle? And so on and so far. And I like this a lot. I do this a lot. And you can do this on a more on a meta level, and you can always can do it also with your concrete material, like an email, a campaign, a landing page, a brochure, a PDF, or whatsoever you have as material in your sales and business development processes.
Yeah, this is great. A perfect segue from tactic number one, where you're doing the deep research at the market level. But then you can move to the deeper level of, okay, these are the ideal customer profiles in that market, or this is the dominant ICP, or as you said, avatar or persona in that market. Now assume the role of that prospect or that customer, and then being able to engage, and maybe even doing some practice runs before you actually engage the human ICP or
Yes.
avatar, right?
Course, you can train your capabilities of communication, of negotiation. Even if you have a hard negotiation with a customer to expect tomorrow, yes, go to the machine and train with it. I think this works very well, and we see artificial trainers and artificial teachers arising right now. Yeah, using that kind of conversation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen it with some of these role play applications that you're seeing. They're kind of simulation software where you can train on how to engage with prospects and go through discovery and use various tactics, and then it'll coach you as well along the way. Those are powerful tools. I'm actually seeing them getting integrated into the tech stacks, the business development tech stacks for companies.
Yeah.
And I think what's really fascinating and where we're going to next with artificial intelligence as it relates to business development is getting that highly personalized understanding of the prospect. So you have your ICP, which ICP tends to be broad across a market or a product set, but we're getting there, and you could even do it manually, I'm sure, with the right kind of prompting. But you could say, okay, I'm meeting with this this team on the customer side tomorrow. Here's the champion, here's who they are, here's their LinkedIn profile, here's the decision maker, here's their profile, here are the communications I've had with them via email. These are my notes on what I detected about their personality. Here are maybe some things they said to me in the past during our discussions. Entering all of that into a deep research tool, and then just playing out with kind of these, practice runs where you're going testing out various questions, testing out various positioning, and then even asking the system to ask you questions like, what do you think they would ask me, and what are the top 6 questions you think they would ask, or
Yeah. Better.
and right. I mean, it starts to
Yeah.
the ability of these platforms is fascinating.
Yeah.
And so, okay, I love tactic number 2, and I think, what's really interesting is all of this is evolving so quickly,
Yeah.
and so I'm really interested to hear what's next. What is tactic number 3?
Okay, tactic number 3 is a more complex one, and we're getting into scaling the whole thing. And tactic number 3 would be take a tool like make.com or NHN, a process automation tool for no code, low code, and first go into something deep researching like Perplexity or ChatGPT and asking for companies and for positions and persons. And you will get real names, real positions in real companies. And you can aggregate these into a sheet, into a Google sheet or an Excel sheet. And then in the next step in that process chain, you could actually give that profile or enrich it by using the LinkedIn profiles as well and match it on ChatGPT with your profile, with what you maybe your ideal customer or the profile you are offering, and then ask the AI to write the perfect sales message, be it an email or a LinkedIn message, no matter what, and you will get very, very personalized, highly targeted messages, and you can take them and send them out, and you will get much, much more better results than writing it on your own.
Yeah, that's great. Any opportunity to automate is fantastic. But then also, over time, people have turned to automation so much because it's the easy button, but they fail to personalize. And so now the AI enables you to personalize on a very human level, on a very individualistic level. And as we all know, and as I wrote about in the business development body of knowledge, personalization is critical for success in business development and maximizing your probability of win. So 3 very powerful tactics. Tim, I know we have about another minute or so left, and I have to ask you, because you are a visionary, because you have such depth of knowledge, we're on the verge of agentic AI. It's actually some elements of it are rolling out. But what do you see business development being a year from now?
A year
And AI.
And AI, a year from now, I think we will see agents acting like assistants for us in sales. I have two of them, two of these in my own company, handling my customer processes and all my personal assistant processes. And so I will see in business development very own assistants, and you only have to send them a message via Messenger or WhatsApp or whatsoever on email, and asking them for instance, give me a market report, or just tell me what are the 5 main players in that market, and all their data. And you don't have to refine the task. They will simply handle it on their own and just give you back the result. I think this is most likely where we'll be in a year's time.
Wow. Okay. Well, I can't wait to have that kind of capability at my fingertips. And Tim, you are just a wealth of knowledge about artificial intelligence. And thank you for sharing your top 3 business development tactics with us today. Just to summarize, tactic number 1, using artificial intelligence to scale your market research and increase efficiency and effectiveness of your market research using deep research tools. And then the second tactic is identifying the ICP, the ideal customer profile, or as you said, Tim, your ideal persona or ideal avatar, and running through dry runs on customer meetings or prospect meetings to understand how that avatar will respond, and asking that avatar questions and understanding what some questions could pop up during the actual discussion that you have with those prospects and clients. So very powerful capability to really understand your ICP. And then tactic number 3 is drilling down even further and personalizing at scale the engagements that you have with those prospects using the artificial intelligence tools. So, Tim, I just see a wonderful opportunity on the horizon, and particularly as it relates to agentic AI, that continues to remove the drudgery of business development and maximize the ability of business developers to become the heroes and help their prospects, help their clients succeed and grow. Tim, you did that with all of us today. You are our hero when it comes to business development, artificial intelligence. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to having you back a year from now when we'll probably talk about agentic AI and your latest book, whatever you publish between now and then.
Oh, great. I will be more than happy, and I can't wait for the next time, Tony. Thank you so much for having me. It was a real great pleasure to be here.
Our pleasure as well, Tim, and we can't wait to have you back. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Business Development Podcast. Join our free community of corporate partners and business development professionals advancing the art, science, and ethics of the business development profession at gbdassociation.org.